Okay, so I did one of each just to see how it was going to go, and it's pretty straightforward. You can see on these where the rubber was just wearing out, coming off, and just deteriorating. You know, the car's 16 years old. This is probably all the original stuff, and definitely needed to be done. So pretty much everything on the ABC system is going to be new when I'm done, except for the actual struts, which I'm going to start setting money aside. You can see this is just a dirt shield basically, but that's deteriorated. These are all the old seals. So I'm going to get the bench cam set up, and I'm going to take one of these apart and show you how easy this is. You know, it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit of time and patience. Make sure you get the seals right. The seals are actually, these are smaller than these ones, and same with these. They get bigger as they go up, and then you got to make sure that you put them back in the right, you know, see that one there, the flat seal is above the round seal, but down here the round seal is above the flat seal. So you got to make sure you put them back in the right order, otherwise you could have major issues, and then you'll be back here taking this shit apart. And I got the valve block all cleaned up pretty good. I noticed there was some screens down in there, which I kind of liked, so when I cleaned them out, I just sprayed it in there with a bunch of that, some air, and made sure that it was clean and keeping it wrapped up so no dust gets in it, and we'll get this all put back together. Okay, so these are going to come off pretty straightforward. Just get in there underneath it with the seal pick and work it around. It'll come right out. Let's just remove that real quick. And I always try to lay my stuff out as I take it off so that I know how to get it back on. And keep your finger on the bottom, because as you're pulling it off, it doesn't go flying and you wind up losing the seal. You can see that these are pretty much on their way out. And then my seal pick, I always try to grind down. Some of them are really pointy. I try to grind down the end so it's not too pointy. You don't want to gouge in the metal or into the new seals. And you can just work them out. The bigger ones, they come out, once you get them past the first loop, they come out pretty easy because the next rings are smaller. You just work them around and they come right out. And then you got one more down in there. Pull that out. Now we're gonna go ahead and just blast this off and clean it up real quick, and blow it out with air. Here's a plastic brush, brass on the other side in case I need a little rougher, but it's still softer than the metal. Okay, main thing is you don't want to be blowing dirt and getting it up in there. Let's go ahead and just blast this off real quick. Okay, what I like to do with these seals, because they're in the bag, is I took this turkey baster type deal here, and I put a little bit of the hydraulic fluid in there for the system, and I just kind of put it down there in the bag. Let the seals get nice and lubed up, and it's, you know, that way you're not getting it all over. If you got a nice little clean pan, it's good to just put them in there and get the seals lubed. Same thing with these. You lube it up so it goes on easier, and as you're putting it in, it's not dry going up against the walls. And we're going to lube everything as we put it in. It's a little bit much, but okay, we'll just dump that in there. Now, make sure we put them back on right. I'm going to go with the biggest. Put a little bit of lube on here as well. Can never have enough lube. Okay, right there. Now these things here, they have a pre-cut gap in them, which kind of makes it easier to get on. And they're made out of a different material. They're more of a hard plastic than they are a rubber like the ones that came off. And they just go right on pretty easy. And then the same thing with these. You just kind of push them on, get them over that lip, get them down. And you want to make sure not to roll the seal. And then once you get it to this point, just kind of get that behind there, pull it down. And just work it around. This one's being difficult. There we go. You just kind of work it around. Get it down in there. And then the same thing with this. This one's plastic seal first, rubber seal. Plastic seal. And then finally, I guess this is the dirt shield. And there you have it. Resealed. And we're just going to wrap that up in a towel. Keep it from getting dusty. Oh, we got to put the spring back in. I'm gonna put a little bit of lube on there. Slide that back in there. And then we're ready to go. Put that to the side. It's garbage. And then we're going to do the same thing with this. Pretty straightforward and simple. You don't have to be a mechanical genius to do this. Just take your time. Plenty of videos on YouTube. Save yourself a lot of money. Okay, we got them all rebuilt. Now, before I took them apart, I marked on here in the aluminum green, blue, red, and yellow. And then I marked on here these numbers that corresponded with, just in case these came off. They did pretty good to stay on there. I don't know what kind of dye that is, but it's pretty good. So to get these back on, what we're going to do is take our little turkey baster here and just lube this up pretty good. Get it all down in there. And then we got to put this little seal on here. We'll put some lube on this. Get lube all up on them seals. Make sure they're thoroughly lubed. And then these, there's actually a little ridge on the inside. The way it's designed, I can only see it going down towards the bottom. So they just kind of get on there like that. And this is blue, so this is going to be on this side. And got to figure out real quick which way the... Okay, I had to figure out which way the power supply faces. And this is actually the one I lubed up first. So we need a seal. And that can really only, it looks like it really only goes on one way. So this is green. And we're going to drop that down in there. And that's it. Pretty straightforward. Maybe a little bit more of this hydraulic oil. Keep everything well lubed. Trying to get that down in there. On all the surfaces where them seals are gonna go. Okay. And this one's already got the thing. Get a little bit more lube on them seals. Okay, now that you got them facing out from each other, we need a new set of clips that come with the seal kit. And by the looks of them, they pretty much can only go on one way. Okay, that's it for that side. Now, I don't know how tough these are going to be because they were a pain to get in there or get out of there. So let me just check real quick what we got here. This is yellow and red, and then we need to see which way. I think they face this way. We're going to check it. Always take video and pictures of everything. That way you can get it back the way it's supposed to be. Okay, I was right. They're going to be facing off on this angle towards that hole right there. So we're going to go ahead and lube all this up. All the areas down in there. Go ahead and lube this one over here. Thoroughly lube these. Not gonna hurt anything. Lube that seal. Okay, so we have red. Go. And yellow. Well, I could say they went in a lot easier than they came out. And when you're pushing on these, don't be pushing on these plastics because you know how old plastic is. It's freaking brittle. You're buying new solenoids. And then these. Let's see here. Okay, that was a tight fit, but we got them on there. So now the next step is to get the new pulsation dampener. And just gonna go ahead and clean this off real quick. Okay, I got that all cleaned up and sprayed these out, cleaned these up as much as I could. So we're just going to put this back together the way we took it apart. And this is going to go in here. The one tube goes out this way. 10mm nut. And 10mm bolts. Pretty much this whole system. It's 10mm, 17mm. Other than the clips and stuff, and the stuff I had to take the exhaust system off, or the passenger side exhaust system, it was pretty much straightforward. 10mm, 17mm. No real special tools required. Okay. And then this thing slides up in here. Two 10mm on the bottom. Now, everything that I've looked online about bleeding the ABC system, they say it's self-bleeding. There might be bleeders on here. I noticed on the front one, it looks like there's a bleeder valve, or there's something on there. But like when you get air up in here, how do you get how does the air come out of there other than trying to crack the line and bleed it? So let's see how this is going to go this way. This one is that way. Now these don't need Teflon tape or pipe dope because it's kind of a machine finish up inside there. And that's going to be 17mm. Tighten down on that. I think this, oh, that was the other one. I'm just going to have to hold this. Now, I wish there was a way to bench test this because there's a lot going on here. And then put this all on the car and then have a problem and you got to take it all the way off. It's not too bad now that I've done it once. It's pretty simple. If you don't know what you're doing and you're not making a video and you're taking your time, this shouldn't take no more than an hour to take this apart, clean it, reseal it, put it all back together. So that's a rebuilt rear valve block assembly with the return pulsation dampener. And now we're going to go ahead and do the front valve block assembly and the front accumulator. Pretty much going to be the same thing. I think I'll video this in one shot on a time lapse, so you can, if you have to pause or whatever. But it's pretty straightforward. Looks like it's going to be the exact same thing. And the only thing I'm waiting on a pump. I had to send the pump back. It looked like the rebuild had some issues. I didn't want to put it on the car, so we're going to go ahead and do this one now. Okay, finished with the front valve block and accumulator. This took less than an hour. It was pretty quick. Probably took me 30 minutes to do it. I tried to video the whole thing, but my battery died on the phone. But you get the gist of it after watching the first one. It's pretty straightforward. So we're gonna go ahead and install these back on the car and go from there.